What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video. And today we are going to be talking about a trade that just happened again. It just makes for more fun content. Khalil Mack just got traded to the Los Angeles Chargers, essentially for this year's second round pick and next year's sixth round pick as well. So with that, it did change how the second round panned out because we had the Carson Wentz second round. Now we're going to have the Khalil Mack and Carson Wentz and Russell Wilson second round. So if you guys do love this content, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. And that first round still applies because nothing changes with it. I still think the Chargers can move up for Jordan Davis because let's face it here, they can address corner and free agency in a loaded free agency class with a lot of money, as well as the fact that honestly, third round picks don't always pan out, and the third round corners in this draft aren't that great. Of course, I recorded a third round today, which I still may or may not drop in case that that the outcome doesn't change with this. But without further ado, let's get right into this. So let's go with the number 33 pick. The Jaguars are on the board. We went Ikem Ekwonu. So for you guys who have not seen it, and you know what, I appreciate the ad revenue if you guys go back and check on it. But Ikem Ekwonu was the first overall pick, and everybody probably was like, why? If we could get Aidan Hutchinson, because you get Aidan Hutchinson 0.9 right here with George Karlaftis, who's an absolute freak, should be going in the first round, but I've heard the NFL is very low on him, so we are going to take full advantage of that. Number 34, you got the Detroit Lions, and I'm going to be doing this just like I did in my last draft. Lewis Scenes on the board, ran a 4.37 40. Strong safety is a huge position of need. This guy could be a legit difference maker at the next level. Excuse me, number 35, we got the Jets. And the Jets, I think I'm going to be rocking it still with Trey McBride. We're keeping it simple. We're keeping it easy. The real changes start happening when we get to see what pick 40, 41, and then all the Bears picks as well, because now we have to strategize. Number 36, the New York Giants are on the board. And again, we are probably going to be sticking to the same route. Christian Harris had a bomb combine, and the guy actually played really well in his final game. So he ended off his career perfectly. Number 37, you got the Houston Texans. And when you look at the Houston Texans roster, you could actually try to target a corner here. But I still think edge is something that I would want to target. Arnold Ebiketie, whatever the hell you want to call him. He's definitely the guy who I would still draft here. So we're sticking to a pretty consistent draft board so far. Number 38, the Jets are on the board. And this is going to be Tyler Smith. I think I'm a huge fan of his potential for the squad, and a guy who can play guard in the short run, tackle in the long. Bears are on the board, and honestly, I don't remember. I don't think this is what happened, but I might be pulling the trigger on Sean Ryan at this moment, but I might not, because I think that we have enough time, and I don't think a team's going to be drafting him versus getting a number one wide receiver in George Pickens. We're sticking to the draft board. Number 40. We got the Seahawks back on the board. Of course, they're not back on the board. It's just been done so many times that we think that they're back on the board. Andrew Booth would be a phenomenal addition to this roster. I think that is a big plus. And then getting a quarterback should be on their mind, because you can get someone like Matt Corral, who is pretty much what Drew Lock was. But honestly, I think he could reach his ceiling a lot better than Drew Lock did. So at least you're maximizing your potential on getting a high ceiling player at number 41. Number 42, we got the Colts, who have done their pick swap with the Washington Commanders. And I think this one might honestly have to be a QB, but at the same time, it's like you could go Kenny Pickett here. I just think they're going to be going after a free agent QB. It kind of sucks. But with that being said, we're going to be waiting till the third round to get a QB. When you can get someone like Sky Moore, I think the value is incredible. Could be a true number one wide receiver. I think that he will work more in the slot, but at the same time, he could be that big producer that you're looking for. Number 43, you got the Falcons on the board. And I think that a wide receiver one should be on their mind for sure. But this is where we're going to see Breece Hall go. We're sticking to the draft board. Breece Hall out of Iowa State. You know, he ran a 4.39 40 and had like a 40-inch vert. The guy's incredible. He was my number one running back by a long shot. So big fan of Breece Hall. Number 44 for the Brownies. Again, we're sticking to the draft board. Perion Winfrey does not deserve to fall any further. This is where he falls. And of course, at 45, the Ravens, I thought about getting Kyler Gordon. I'm changing up the whole draft right now. We're going Travis Jones out of UConn. Big fan of that guy. That guy deserves to be a first-round pick. 46 for the Vikings. We're going to be going to safety here. We're going to be going after Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State, changing it up from Jalen Petrie, who might be this next pick because I need a true deep safety who could potentially play slot. I know Cam Curl plays in the slot, but he can play absolutely anywhere. Safety has become even more prevalent now that you very well might be. I think you actually did officially cut Landon Collins and saved a lot of money on that contract. We're going to be going Jalen Petrie here out of Baylor. Yeah, be able to secure a nice defense right there to at least help Carson Wentz in his journey with the Bears back on the board. Here we go. This is a change up in the draft. We are going to be going Sean Ryan out of UCLA. Guy can play guard in the short run, guard if you want, tackle if you want to in the long run. Left guard's going to be pretty much barren with James Daniels there. So big fan of Sean Ryan. Number 49, you got the Saints. And Saints, I think that going after a quarterback like Kenny Pickett is probably the best thing you can do. If the guy who can come in, step in day one and potentially put up some pretty good numbers. But Desmond Ridder has a lot higher of a ceiling, has a much stronger arm, doesn't have that hand issue, and is able to lead a team to victory. And honestly, at this point in the franchise, I think that's going to be what is coveted most. Number 50 with the Dolphins, I am going to actually pull the trigger on a running back here in Kenneth Walker III out of Michigan State. I just think that this is a good zone for him to go in, and he is going to nab up that RB1 spot down there in Miami. I think taking pressure off Tua is probably going to be the best thing that you can do. Number 51, the Eagles are on the board, and safety is no longer on here because I accidentally passed in Jaquan Brisker, and it hurt me inside. I'm sorry, guys. I felt really bad. Brian Asamoah is still here, but we're going to go Leo Chanel out of Wisconsin, put up 34 reps on the bench press as a linebacker who can run a 4.5. That's pretty damn special. 252 pounds at 6'2". Sign me up. Steelers are on the board, and this is going to be Kenny Pickett going back to the same old draft board, guys. You guys know the way it is. But again, we'll probably see some changes because this was the guys who I took here no longer on the board. So number 53, we got the Raiders. And honestly, getting a boundary wide receiver like Christian Watson would not be a bad idea. That being said, I don't know if I actually want to go that route because you still got Jamari Sawyer here, who I think would be a big, big plus for the team. You could go Daniel Faalele or Abraham Lucas, who could be big additions. But we're going to go Jamari Sawyer out of Georgia. I don't think I went with him last time. I very well might have, with all due respect. But I think that guy can play guard or tackle wherever the hell you want to put him. Very versatile and a very solid player. Number 54 with the Patriots. This is still going to be a safety, but I forgot to respect this dude. Nick Cross out of Maryland just feels like a Patriots pick. Ran a 4.37 40, is an absolute combine monster, and he's a very good safety as well. Definitely somebody who can add into the ranks of the Belichickian era, which of course you could have went wide receiver there with John Mechie, but we might want to trade up for him in a little bit. We'll see. Number 55, you got the Cards on the board, and you guys are going to be nabbing up Kyler Gordon out of Washington, changing it up a little bit on the back end of this second round. I mean, obviously, Washington corners have worked pretty well for you. Kyler Gordon can now be the boundary version of that. Cowboys are on the board, and honestly, a wide receiver still could be in the question here for Christian Watson. We could definitely still look in the safety room because Kirby Joseph is here, but not going to be targeting that personally. But we could be going a linebacker here, and I think they do with Brian Asamoah out of Oklahoma. I think the guy's absolutely phenomenal. I have a first-round grade on him, higher than Devin Lloyd. That's how high I am on this guy. I love him to death. Leo Chanel right behind him as well. So big fan of Brian Asamoah. Number 57, we got the Buffalo Bills, and this could be a trade back spot, but Roger McCreary is here, and I kind of want to pull the trigger on it. DeMarvin Leal is as well, and that's what hurts inside because I would love to pull the trigger on him. Thought about doing it for the Cowboys, and I didn't. Starting to regret it a little bit, but that's okay. Roger McCreary out of Auburn is going to be a good fit for the team. Number 58, we got the Falcons, and a number one wide receiver should be on the books right now. Do I think that this is a good spot for one? Yes, but at the same time, you need to at least address something on the defense as well. DeMarvin Leal at least has that potential to be a big difference maker. Number 59, we got the Packers. And unfortunately, DeMarvin Leal would have been a good addition to the team. But Boye Mafe still sticking to the draft board, going to the Packers. They love their raw, hyper-athletic edge rushers. This is no different. Number 60, We got the Buccaneers on the board, and honestly, they're going to, I mean, we very well, oh, they need offensive line though. They do. Phew, they don't really have much of a selection, do they? But, with the selection on the board, I think that Jalen Tolbert might not be a bad idea for this team. You could go after Calvin Austin or John Mechie. And honestly, John Mechie would not be a bad idea. He could be your Chris Godwin. And honestly, that's what we're going to do. John Mechie out of Alabama here did not test, but I still think that he's a phenomenal wide receiver. Leaving the Niners on the board, and you could be going after someone like Martin Emerson at this point. But I think getting Christian Watson is just perfect. You pair up Trey Lance with his old number one wide receiver, and the guy's been just going off. Big fan of what Christian Watson could be on this roster. Then we got the Kansas City Chiefs going to the edge room, and I think that you can go any route here. I'm actually going to go Sam Williams, changing it up a little bit. A phenomenal edge out of Ole Miss who tested very, very well. And then you got the Bengals on the board. I'm looking at the guys available. I'm not that big of a fan of them. Really not. We already got our offensive tackle. That's really the big reason why. We could go Martin Emerson here. We very well might, just to change it up a little bit. And actually, that's what we're going to do. He's a really good corner. I think that value is pretty damn awesome. In the third round, I actually went after Josh Williams out of Fayetteville State for them. So we are actually going to be changing up, which means I'm going to have to do another third round, which of course is perfectly fine with me. Number 64 with the Broncos ending off the second round. I think that going after a linebacker is going to be the best value on the board. And we're actually going to be going after Troy Anderson out of Montana State. Yeah, the guy's been absolutely phenomenal, really good in coverage, 4.41 speed, former running back and quarterback. The guy was also voted, I think, FCS Defensive Player of the Year. The guy is absolutely awesome. His accolades are everywhere. So day one impact starter. I love it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I wanted to be a little bit quicker for you guys so you guys didn't have to watch me do the same draft over and over again, but wanted to change it up a little bit. And I think that is pretty damn phenomenal. Now check out for round 3 coming soon if another trade does not completely obliterate what happens with this. So thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the far side. Peace.